Welcome to Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. Be sure to follow us on IG, Facebook, Pinterest, and YouTube at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia, where I bring voices, stories, and laughter to the mic to simply help normalize hard conversations with love, cheer you on as you give yourself permission to live and redefine self as you join and engage in our sister friend tribe. We encourage our community to focus on areas of growth, becoming better versions of self each day, and exercising in faith over fear. Come on and join our sister friend tribe where we just have a good old time and laugh and share our authentic stories and have good conversation. Go ahead and grab your favorite drink and chime in. And share tips that will help you manage your quarterly goals so you can meet your yearly goals. That's right, manage your quarterly goals so you can meet your yearly goals. But before we jump into the episode, let me give you this week's affirmation. Ladies, you deserve what you desire. Don't let anyone get in your way. Give yourself permission to go get life's promises and your heart desires. Let's jump into today's episode. In 2023, I started to be more intentional about my schedule. Prior to that, and what I mean by more intentional is prior to 2023, I would just probably consider myself being busy versus being productive. I had so many projects going on, so many business ideas, and so much goes on in my brain and just so many tasks. I also at the time lacked having a time management, right? I lacked discipline and I lacked a way to manage my time. I think at best I may have used my Google Calendar and I may have set alerts, but I wasn't putting effort to put everything in there. And I may have made even sticky notes, right? But it wasn't a real method to navigate and manage my day-to-day life. I also didn't have the ability to set any boundaries. Walk with me, walk with me, walk with me, because I'm going to take you somewhere as I'm learning how to manage my life and my schedule, right? So I didn't have any boundaries set in place. And what I mean by that is if someone asks me to do, because by nature, DNA, I am a helper, right? I like to serve. I like to help people. I like to help people solve their problems. And so it's real easy for somebody to ask me to do something and I am going to do it. I will drop literally everything that I'm doing. I'm going to do it. But that wasn't helpful for me because I would put myself in the things that I was doing back. And we'll get more into not having boundaries, but I didn't have any boundaries at the time. On top of, I neglected self-care and I also disregarded my own health. So all of these things that I'm talking about, it actually ties in to having a schedule, to managing your time, to be your best self, right? To grow in areas. And what we are going to do today is I am going to share with you how I actually broke things down in quadrants because as I was learning that I didn't have anything in place, I actually started trying to put a time management schedule in place, right? So I started with a whiteboard. I had this whiteboard and I used what I call like color coded days. So Sunday might have been blue, Monday might have been red, Tuesday might have been purple. You get the picture, right? Each day was a different color, and each color it represented different projects, different ideas, different tasks. And sometimes I may have even had like a little bubble on the whiteboard because I will put like my amazing ideas in the bubble, right? But it wasn't a realistic way for me to manage my day to day life. Now, it was a start and it was a foundation. We all have to start somewhere, right? But it wasn't really realistic for me because there were other things I was missing. I was missing appointments. I was missing if I had to run an errand, doctor's appointment, if I had committed to do something for somebody. So it was other things that was just missing from that whiteboard that I was looking at because I'm looking at a whiteboard that I'm operating off on a color coded day, but months and days and weeks, I've actually have committed to something else. And so I was missing that until the time came up and I'm like, okay, I'm all over the place and I'm all over the place, right? And so that was my foundation of working on my schedule and my time management. And as I got better, I started to develop in other areas that help me with my time management. And so I am just going to drop some nuggets with you all. And I'm hoping what I have come up with will help somebody, because I think too often we get so overwhelmed that everything goes on the back burner. We don't pick it up and we don't move forward, and those goals that we want to reach, they get even further and further, right? So I have broken this up into what I like to call the 4 quadrants. And this is the 4 quadrants on how to manage your schedule, your life, becoming the best you, growing in different areas, right? So the first quadrant is what I call my time management quadrant, right? I use a planner. I live by, it's a manual planner, and I try to also make sure whatever's in my manual planner is also on my planner on my phone. Now the planner, my manual planner, is what I actually go by. It's what I use. And I'll make sure that I'll try to put stuff into my phone. Sometimes I do miss my phone, so I don't rely on my phone always. I always refer back to the actual planner. But I try to make sure they are synced up. So tasks, meetings, doctor's appointments, projects, errands, travel, anything I may have committed to, celebrations, anniversaries, you name it, I have put it in the calendar as I am, working each quarter, each month, each week, and so forth. And then on my whiteboard, I still use a whiteboard, but each day is not color coded, right? So my whiteboard is now, it mimics my calendar, right? But it mimics my calendar, but with a twist. And when I say mimics my calendar, it mimics each day. So the whiteboard, it gets erased, and then I look at the next day and I mimic the whiteboard to match the calendar. But on my whiteboard, what I do, which is why I say it's with a twist, is that I highlight the must-do action items, right? It's a must-do. It has to get done. It's a non-negotiable. This has to get done. If I don't finish something else, it can get moved to the next day or later in the week. But these things have to get done. So visually being able to see that, it helps me to say, okay, Tamekia, you have to do A, B, and C. Or it could just be A that's highlighted because it's a must do. And then I can, manage everything. And with my planners, I'm an affirmation girl. So I like to shower myself with affirmations in both my planner and my whiteboard, because it gives me that fuel that I need to know that, you know what, Tamekia, you got this and you are managing your time well. So I'll write myself sticky notes. The other part that's in my time management quadrant is, I call it pause breaks, right? I am terrible. I used to be. I used to be terrible at when I would start something, because I had this eager desire to finish it. I didn't care how long it took me. It could take me 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. I wanted to finish it, only to realize, like, oh girl, you've been at this thing for 6, 7 hours and you still not finished, because most times when you start something new, you don't even know what you're doing. So, you learning something, and I was burning myself out. Because at that point, when you sitting somewhere so long and doing something for so long, you can't even freshly think. You can't think because you are burnt out. And so what I've added to this quadrant is called pause break. So I'll pause break on a task, a project. If I've been working like over 2 hours, I'll break, I'll eat something, drink something, I'll move to a different area just for scenery. I work from home, so working from different places of my home is really important to me, because it revives my energy. It helps me reset my vibe and my thoughts. So I move to different areas to accomplish different tasks, right? I like to call that the pause break. Here's something I just added. It's really new, and I'm going to see how it works, but I'm going to give it to you. As I finished the first quarter, right? Because we're in our second quarter now. I guess I probably should have led with that. But as we finished the first quarter, what I did was I listed everything that did not get done I listed everything that didn't get done. I listed in the last week of the quarter, going into the first week of the second quarter, as action items that needed to be before I moved on to the second week of the second quarter. So still in the first week and it's working. I got 2 more things to do. So that's new, and I hope it pans out to be helpful. So I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. The second quadrant is the boundaries, right? Remember earlier I said I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't have no boundaries in place at all. And I actually feel okay about having boundaries now because it helps me manage and navigate not just my life, but time, my schedule. It helps me manage overall, Tamekia, right? So here are my boundaries that I set up for me. Hopefully they're helpful for you, but if my boundaries don't work for you, listen, overall goal is sit down and figure out what your boundaries should be or look like. But my boundaries now are I don't take on other people's tasks and requests last, right? And what I mean by that is when someone asks me to do something, one, I assess what they're asking me to do. 2, I prioritize. I no longer stop doing what I'm doing and jump straight into what they're asking me to do. I prioritize and I put all of those things on my Saturday schedule. So depending on when you ask me, it can take me up to a week or 2 weeks to get something done or follow back up with you, right? So that just helps me manage my time, but also it gives me the privilege to still be able to be Tamekia, right? Because one thing that I love doing is helping people, serving people. But you gotta have this thing that helps you balance, right? And so I now prioritize when people ask me to do something or request on my time. And I move it to Saturdays, and I try to make sure whatever they ask me to do that I address it first thing Saturday morning so I can go about my day and follow up with them. It's been working so far for the most part. And then it's really about conversation and letting people know as well, like, hey, I look forward to doing this and I'm gonna help out. But because what you asked me to do, it's gonna take some time and it's gonna take up brain space, I'm gonna do this on Saturday and follow back up with you. The other boundary I now have is I have a no Sunday commitment day. I've been doing this for a few weeks now, and I absolutely love it. And when I say a no commitment day, I don't commit to anything on Sunday. Now, exceptions do apply. And when I say exceptions, meaning like I had one of my mentees come in from college spring break and reached out and said, "Hey, Miss Tamekia, want to hang out for lunch?" Well, my weekdays are so busy. I was like, we can, but how about Sunday, right? So when I say I absolutely love the no commitment Sunday, it gives me time to prepare for the following week. It gives me time to juice my juice for the week. It gives me time. If I'm gonna plan my meals, I'm not a big cooker, but if I'm gonna plan my meals, and when I say not a big cooker, it's like I don't make big meals. My meals, they got 30 minutes or less. But it gives me time to plan my meals, address any outstanding tasks that I didn't do the following week. And it's really it's Tamekia, and it's freeing, to be honest with you. So I'm loving my no commitment Sundays. My third boundary is I put my phone on D&D throughout the day, just because as I'm working, it's really easy to get distracted, to take a phone call, and to be on the phone for quite some time to realize, okay, I didn't finish this because I was on the phone. And then I have a cutoff at my phone goes on D&D at a certain time at night as well. So those are my boundaries. The third quadrant is my self-care quadrant. Now walk with me, because all of this, everything that I'm mentioning, it has plenty to do with how you manage your schedule, because overall is you, right? It's helping you become a better you and helping you manage your schedule. Self-care quadrant. Too often we do not have self-care days, or we don't focus on self-care. Sometimes it just gets put on the back burner, right? So my self-care quadrant, to be quite honest with you, one is it's a non-negotiable, right? So I have committed to get myself to schedule a massage monthly. Schedule a massage monthly, and it's a non-negotiable. It's one of the things that I'm going to do, I have to do, and it's going to get done, right? The second thing, or my second self-care implementation is once a quarter. Now, I want my life by design to be travel, but once a quarter, I plan to go somewhere. I love hot places. I love the sand. I love just being by water, the beach. And to be quite honest with you, if it's somewhere warm, I'm happy, right? So once a quarter, I am planning to schedule a trip. But within that trip, it's just going to be about me, and I am going to disconnect, right? Disconnect social media, disconnect people. Honestly, I'm gonna call it my Tamekia turn off day, or Tamekia turn off weekend. However many days I'm gonna be gone, because it's going to give me the time that I need to replenish, realign, and plug into the source of power. Excuse me. And it's my supercharge. So I am implementing. Actually, I'm excited because in the second quarter, I'm going to go put my feet in the sand, and I'm going to disconnect. So that's my goal as it relates to self-care in the sand. Here's the third one. Surprisingly to me, I started working out, I'm guessing maybe February. So I've been going to the gym, and let me tell you, I am not the person that was sold on going to the gym, love going to the gym, even love working out, right? Surprisingly, and this going to the gym is going to fit in two categories for me. But since I've been going to the gym, it's been an eye-opener for me to know that working out in the moment that I'm working out, it brings me peace. It brings me peace. My mind isn't racing. So I enjoy it. I enjoy being by myself, working out by not necessarily being in classes or working with someone, because that means I have to engage, right? So that means I have to be going to the gym. I can turn off, work out, listen to a podcast, listen to music, and have that 45 minutes to an hour to just settle my brain, settle myself, and just so surprisingly, I mean, and who knew that I was going to like going to the gym and that it was going to bring me joy. So that has now been placed in my self-care quadrant. So let's move to the health quadrant. As I said before, I've been going to the gym. I go about 3 days a week, right? I normally go in the mornings, but if I don't go in the mornings, I'm flexible enough to also go in the afternoon. So surprisingly, I actually like both. Just really depending on what my day looks like, how heavy my day is, and how I'm just navigating how I start my morning off. So if I don't make it in the morning and I need to work some hours or get something done, I'm completely okay with that. I'll get something done. And I'm like, okay, now when I go in the afternoon, I do have a time that I have to make it by. I don't go any later than 2 o'clock. So that's in the health quadrant for me, is going to the gym. Oh, and I also realized too, I like going skating. That's also in my health quadrant. Skating has been a new thing for me, getting back into. The problem is that for me, it's actually keeping up with going on the days that's beginners for adults, only because it's so nice. But going back skating is also in my health quadrant because it's a fun activity and it's a fun activity. The other health quadrant is staying up to date on my annual physicals, and getting more familiar and understanding what my numbers are and what they look like and what they mean, being more familiar with my body, understanding what my body is saying and doing, and being honest with my doctor, right? So sometimes when you go to, like, I'll be honest, I don't know if I understood like all of my numbers, but when I sit down and I talk to my doctor and I'm looking at certain things, I'm like, okay, I need to work in this area. I need to work in that area. I need to get my iron level up. I need to get my cholesterol down, And so just being more intentional about my health numbers, being intentional about getting my yearly physical, right? So all of it, the physical, mammogram. I started this August, September 2023, is juicing. Who knew I was going to fall in love with juicing? But this is also in my health quadrant. Is I juice. I typically juice all of my juices on Sundays, and I do probably about 5 to 7 12-ounce bottles and I store them in the refrigerator in tight containers. And it's part of my health quadrant. When I juice, I do like to keep it really simple. The simplicity of the juices that I juice, the ingredients, helps me stay committed, right? Because sometimes you can get overwhelmed with picking a lot of ingredients that go into juices. So for the helps of someone that may be interested in juicing, I'll tell you how simple my menu is when it comes to juicing. And these are the 4 juices that stay in rotation, okay? The first one is carrots, apples. Now, I do prefer Pink Lady apples. They are my favorite. But carrots, apples, and ginger. All right, that's one juice. Cucumbers, apples, again, Pink Lady, and lemon. That's another juice. Celery, pears with a splash of lime. That's another. And then, surprisingly, beets, which are good for iron. But beets with a little raw honey is really, really good. Beets are really good. So those were the 4 drinks to kind of stay in my rotation as it relates to juicing. Like I said, I like to keep it really simple because the simplicity helps me stay committed to juicing on a weekly basis. And to be quite honest with you, I already kind of know what the budget is going to be when I buy certain ingredients. But anything else, adding a bunch of ingredients, that's too complicated for me, and I don't like complicated. Number 4, as it relates to the health quadrant, I have now found myself eating less snacky foods and being more intentional about cooking quick meals. Remember, my meals, they need 30 minutes or less, otherwise it's not cooking, okay? 30 minutes or less meals, and I focus on having a colorful plate, my protein intake, and carbohydrates. So I've been doing pretty well in that area too. I haven't really been doing, I'm a sweet eater. I love sweets, but I have not been indulging in a lot of sweets. So I'm proud of me. So the 5th is proper sleep. I'm still working on it because I'm still working on not taking any devices in the bed with me, my laptop, my cell phone, and those 2 things, to be quite honest with you. So that's the area that is on my health quadrant, but I'm still working really hard at shutting laptop down, putting phone down, waking up with a regular alarm, and shutting my night down at a certain time and getting proper sleep and a good night rest. And the 6th is the 6th thing that's in my health quadrant is my main focus overall, because sometimes I think we can be hard on ourselves when it comes to our health, is my main focus. And I want you all to take this away as well. My main focus, and I have to ask myself, did I make better choices today than I did bad choices as it relates to and if I made better choices that day and that week, then I am okay with decisions that I made, right? My good choices have to outweigh the bad choices. So for me, it's not about losing weight. Don't get me wrong, it's a plus, but it's about what I'm putting inside of my body. Am I taking care of my temple? Am I becoming a better person inside and out? A better version of Tamekia inside and out, right? So all 4 quadrants help you manage your schedule, because guess what? Time management is important to your schedule. Boundaries, important to your schedule. Self-care, it's important to your schedule. You cannot keep going and going and going and going if you don't take care of yourself. And the health quality is important to yours, right? We have 365 days in a year. You have to be able to manage yourself weekly, monthly, and quarterly in order to reach the goals that you want to reach. Otherwise, you're going to be burnt out, right? And all over the place, like I was a couple years ago. But I'm here now, and I'm better. I'm a better version of Tamekia. So I am going to attach the 4 quadrant guide, is the manage her quarters guide, quad guide, to help you. It'll be free. You can download it, but it's going to help you manage each quarter so you can manage your year, right? and you want to focus on time management, you want to focus setting up your own boundaries, you want to focus on health, and you want to focus self-care. All right, before we wrap things up, so that is the episode for this week. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am on Instagram, Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia, YouTube, Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia, Facebook, Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. You'll be able to access the downloadable guide from YouTube, and it'll be attached to the video. But before we get ready to close, I do want to remind people, Monday is the solar eclipse. How cool is that? But I want to remind people that you want to make sure that you have the proper glasses. I'm in Ohio, so we have a lot of people traveling from all over here to watch the eclipse, right? Excuse me. I am in hopes of being able to watch from my home because I will be traveling. Soon, so I have a lot of things that I need to get done. So I'm in hopes to be able to see it from my house. Hopefully, we don't have a cloudy day, but it's been said to make sure, hopefully people know this, but it's been made sure if you are looking for the proper glasses, I have a pair right here. Most of your libraries have them. You may want to call and make sure they still have them. I got these a couple weeks ago. But most of your local libraries have the proper eyewear that you should be wearing when you watch the solar eclipse, right? And the proper eyewear, you want to make sure it has these letters and numbers. ISO 12312-2, and you want to make sure it says certified. So they're saying be careful when you order your glasses on Amazon, because you don't know what you're going to get. So it would probably be in your best interest to check with your local library and so forth versus ordering from Amazon or from who knows where you're going to get them from and not know if they are the proper eyewear. The other thing is when you are watching, make sure you keep your glasses on. Parents, make sure your little ones keep their glasses on. We don't want anyone damaging their eyes. I think that's all that I have. And I thank you for just sitting in, hanging out with Tamekia at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. I am your girl. Make sure you join us on Facebook, Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. Instagram, Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. We're also on Pinterest. You all can come and check out my boards that I have. But it's also Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. And also make sure you hit the subscribe button to join our podcast. I am your girl Tamekia. Thank you so much for sitting in and joining with me. I'll catch you all next week. You all have an amazing. Thank you for tapping in to Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia and engaging with our sister friend tribe, where voice matters, laughing is medicine, and redefining her identity is essential. Be sure to follow us on IG at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast. I am your girl, Tamekia, and I'll see you next week.